A disaster can happen at any time, whether it be man-made or nature. So how prepared are you? You might be surprised at how unprepared many people are. This week on Being Well, we'll be talking about disaster preparedness with Dr. Sheila Simons of the Department of Health Studies at Eastern Illinois University. Dr. Simons will give us some great information on health and safety during times of disaster and what you need to do to weather the storm. So don't go away. Dr. Simons, welcome back to Being Well. Today we're talking about how to be prepared for disasters. Tell us a little bit about your background in disaster prep and health and safety.
Well, first, thank you for having me. And my background actually is as a CERT, a Community Emergency Response Team trainer. I have done training through the state of Illinois, and then I'm also a former firefighter with Lincoln Fire Protection District. And I was a lieutenant with them, actually their first female lieutenant that they've ever had.
And you teach health and safety courses here at Eastern.
I teach in the Department of Health Studies, and one of those classes that I teach is a disasters planning and response class that allows people to develop strategies and to help groups of individuals respond to large mass casualties and even our smaller disasters.
Okay, well, I know you did some research recently on how prepared or maybe unprepared we are. Can you tell us about the study and what you found out?
Yes, and actually the study was presented this last October in San Francisco at the American Public Health Association, and the research was done surveying members here on campus that were part of faculty and staff and administrators. And what we found is that many of them either relied on individuals that were within their home, but when they were on campus, they relied on others. So a disaster can obviously touch a campus, but when we have individuals that are not prepared to take care of themselves first and foremost, and the immediate people around them, then we have them relying on other sources that may not be available to them immediately because the system will be overwhelmed.
So do you think people generally, in terms of disaster, think, well, that's what the Red Cross is for. That's what FEMA is for, to help me out. I don't really need to have all this stuff ready.
Absolutely, and in a lot of ways that they're right. The American Red Cross is there to assist in disasters and probably does more disaster assistance than any other organization globally. And it is their number one thing. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, what they actually do is they provide response afterwards, and of course they provide rebuilding monies and housing, temporary housing, as does the Red Cross. But they cannot always get there immediately. So when we tell people to plan, we tell them to plan for disasters for the very first 72 hours. Because of the grade of the disaster or the degree of the disaster, it may take individuals up to 3 days to get to them to assist them.
Well, and I think we've got great examples of that with Hurricane Katrina and Superstorm Sandy, that they were so much worse than what people thought, and people were waiting for help.
Yes, I think when it comes to weather and it comes to Mother Nature in general, and even when we look at natural disasters versus our man-made disasters like we had on 9/11, preparedness for ourselves at all times is what is essential, but it's also essential to prepare for the rest of your family. Now, Katrina really ran into problems with evacuation. It happened so fast, so quick, even though they were cautioned to get out, but they had been through storms before. So weathering the storm seemed to be comfortable for them. But even with Superstorm Sandy, we saw a lot of problems with that and evacuation. And one thing that does happen quite often with evacuation and disaster preparedness is people don't want to leave because of their pets. They don't want to leave them behind. I know I certainly wouldn't want to leave mine behind. So what we encourage people to do is not just to prepare for yourself, but to prepare for your animals. Maybe prepare for an elderly neighbor or somebody who might need assistance in your neighborhood, that they are individuals to help as well.
And you told me there is something, a new FEMA rule in terms of rescuing pets?
There is a new rule, and this actually just came up with Superstorm Sandy also, because one of the reasons why many people did not evacuate in Hurricane Katrina is they felt that they couldn't leave their pets alone. You know, they couldn't leave family, they couldn't leave pets, and they took the risk of staying. And of course, many of them became trapped, many of them died, many of them developed disease as a result of fecal content being in the waters. And there was no safe water. The list just went on and on. As a result of that, one of the things that FEMA came forward and said was, okay, we'll help to evacuate your pets also. If we evacuate you, we're evacuating your pets. But it's not something that's widely known.
Okay.
And we saw just with Hurricane Sandy, or I'm sorry, Superstorm Sandy, as I was watching the news, I heard a woman say, I didn't leave because I couldn't leave my pets. But actually, they could have assisted her in leaving those pets or taking those pets with them.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. What kind of diseases? Let's talk flooding. There are health issues that arise when you have floodwaters. What are some of the common health and illnesses that come from
Most
floods?
of what you run into with floodwaters is you run into a lot of contamination. If you're in rural areas, you may look at contamination from farms. You may look at manure or fecal content. Sewage treatment plants fail to work. And we start to get the rising waters, chemicals in lawns, and it's simply not safe to even be in the water.
Now, so like trudging through the water, you can get some sort of illnesses from that.
And actually trudging through water, you have to be very careful because a movement of water about 6 inches tall can actually prevent you from walking across it and cause you to fall and obviously maybe sustain some other injuries, if not drown. But 12 to 20 inches of water can move a SUV.
Wow.
So
that's not that much water.
No, it isn't. And more people die every year in the United States from floods and the result of storm surges than they do of any other natural disaster.
So what kind of waterborne illnesses can you get?
One of them is E. coli, and E. coli is shed in the gut of humans and of animals. And when it is shed into the water, when people drink the contaminated water, then we sometimes find them developing things like vomiting, diarrhea, nausea, and it can actually cause kidney failure as well.
Can you get some sort of disease from if you are trudging through water? Maybe you're not ingesting that water, but it's in contact with your skin if it's real contaminated?
Well, sometimes you may pick up something that is fungal or something that may develop secondary to exposure to the floodwaters, especially if you have an injury on you or a break in your skin. And the break in the skin can be something as simple as maybe you're scratching your leg and you cause a little damage to your skin. Your skin is your first layer of defense in disease. So keeping it safe and not treading through floodwaters. Not to mention the risks that you have in floodwaters, the debris that you may step on, everything from glass to nails. You can sprain or strain, bruises, cuts, the list goes on.
Okay, so we're obviously in a tornado area here. What kinds of things can you get from tornadoes?
Well, tornadoes aren't really known as much for diseases unless they are secondary to an injury. With tornadoes, we usually see more contusions or bruisings, fractures. We've seen amputations, just horrific injuries. And many of those injuries are avoided by having a plan.
And which we're going to get to in a little bit.
Yes. But really, the injuries are the primary things that we run into with them.
Crush injuries, cuts, scrapes, all sorts of things.
Yeah, and the crush injuries, actually we see those more with earthquakes, but they can certainly happen in tornadoes as well when individuals become trapped. And again, if they are not prepared or if they don't have a plan, or perhaps they don't have a weather radio, which is essential. You should rely on a weather radio before you rely on your television. Many people have satellite or cable, and those things go out.
Yeah, well, I have that, and if it rains really hard, it goes out. I mean, that's just the nature of satellite TV or cable or anything.
It is.
So you've brought some supplies with, and I want you to tell our viewers what, in your estimation, do we need to have for our disaster preparedness kit? And this is not everything, by the way.
No, it's
This
not.
is a sampling. So,
There's actually many things that you should have in a kit, but
Okay.
these are some of the more common things.
okay, and we're going to put the list on the screen so people can follow along.
Okay. One of the first things that everybody needs to have is a first aid kit. And one of the running jokes that my students have is, does Dr. Simons have a first aid kit? So they ask me at random moments, and of course I always pull one out. You know,
hold
you
this
never may
camera.
need it.
Right.
Which is ideal. You never want to actually need the first aid kit. But it's also important that even though you may not think you need it for disaster, that you don't rob things from this kit.
Right.
You know, that people would take something from this kit and not replace it. This is one of many first aid kits that I have, and it has the essentials in it. It does have a nice emergency guide that's in it. For those people who are not familiar with first aid, to preview this first is actually the wise thing to do.
Okay.
So you have an idea of what's in your kit. You can buy any kit at any one of the local stores. They all have them. You can put one together. I usually buy a kit and then add items to it. But you should also have, and I don't have them in here right now, is a pair of gloves. You
Okay,
know, either a pair of latex gloves or a pair of non-latex gloves.
So basically, what are the key things that you have in this kit? Lots of Band-Aids.
Lots of Band-Aids and bandages, but also very large pads, like 3x5, 4x6 pads that can actually stop bleeding. They're all sterile. You should have the opportunity to put something sterile on a wound if you need to. Now, if you don't have something that's sterile in a disaster, you make do with what you have.
Right.
You know, you will have to cope with that. But it also has some gauze, some tape. One thing that I really like in this particular kit is that it also has some sunscreen.
Oh, we don't think about that.
We don't think about that because you may be without shelter.
Right.
And the shelter that you have may not be sufficient.
It may be gone.
Yes, and it may be gone. And the other problem that we run into with shelters is that we do have a couple here in Coles County. The largest shelter that we have that's an air-conditioned facility is Lance Arena. But if that is unavailable for people to get to because they've lost a landmark that they're familiar with, maybe there's not a street sign, things don't look familiar after tornadoes.
Look at Joplin, Missouri.
Joplin, Missouri is an excellent example. People saw the ruins after that and had absolutely no idea of where they were. The landmarks were gone, including the hospital.
Okay, so first aid kit, really essential. Talk about some of the other supplies. For instance, zip ties. This is something I would, never think of. What would you use these for?
Well, the zip ties I use for a couple things. One thing is I use them as markers that may help me to locate something again. I also use them for trash bags. You may need trash bags either for human waste or you may need it for other things. It may put in some of the old supplies that you may have used from bandages, and I'll use those to tie them shut.
Okay.
Now, these zip ties are actually colored, and the reason why they are is for the emergency response teams. These are the colors that we use universally for when we respond to a disaster. The red will go around someone's wrist who is in need of immediate care.
Okay.
The yellow, they can wait, but the blue and the black is universal for death.
Okay.
So I carry them for a couple reasons. One, to secure things, to close things, and then of course to help to identify victims is the other reason why I carry them.
All right. We've also got flashlights.
Flashlights are essential, and
make sure the batteries work, which I did check. They do
of
work.
course they work.
Right
But
there.
you know what? If you don't have batteries with you, that's fine. And if you're not going to restock your batteries too, that's fine. Because now we have the hand crank batteries.
I bought one of those.
They're
That is
fantastic.
A great thing to have.
They really are nice to have. I have a couple that are handheld, and I like them smaller. They make them brighter with the LED lights now, which is very nice. But I also have a headset one.
Okay.
And the headset is nice because it lets you have hands free.
Right.
And it allows you to do things like maybe bag your trash, dress a wound.
Without having to hold the flashlight.
Correct, or have somebody assist you in that manner.
Okay. What is this? I've never seen this before.
That is actually an excellent tool that we like to use. It is a utility tool that is non-sparking. So
Okay.
whatever metal you hit it up against, it's not going to spark, but it's designed to turn off gas and water.
Okay.
Everyone in their kit should have not just these basic things that we've talked about so far, but they should also have a wrench with them. They might need to turn off their gas.
Okay, yeah, because this says gas on it.
Yeah.
It says water. It has on duty. So
Yeah, On Duty is actually the brand name.
Oh,
but,
okay.
but there's actually a digging tool at one end and a chopping tool at the other.
Okay.
And that's actually for soil in case you need to get through into a line, but you can use the tool for other things as well.
Okay.
You can improvise.
so what is this thing called?
This is actually just a utility tool.
Okay.
It's they oftentimes will call them an emergency utility tool.
Okay.
And the water shutoff is actually at the bottom. It has
Okay, yeah, that's
a
right
little
down
piece there.
Okay. Duct tape.
Duct
Very
tape.
useful for many, many things.
Yes, it is. It's something. It holds stuff together.
does.
It holds things apart. If it happens to be a disaster that may be related to chemicals, which
Shelter in place.
you have to shelter in place, which is staying in your house for maybe 36 to 72 hours, you can put the tape around your door.
Yes.
And you can
With
prevent
with your plastic
Exactly.
bags. Uh-huh.
Exactly.
What are the note cards for?
The note cards, I suggest that individuals have a pencil or a pen. The pencil is better because with the pencil, you're not going to run out of ink.
That's true.
But you may need to make notes. I prefer the bright colors because if I need to tear off a note and leave it with someone or tear off a note and tape it to something, then I can
really
easily
bright.
see it. It's very bright.
Okay. We have whistle, which that makes sense.
Yes, whistles, of course, calling for help or getting someone's attention. And then next to that, I have a couple different masks, and actually there's just 3 of them here of the same mask. This mask is an N95 mask, and the N95 you can get at hardware stores or you can get it at other stores that carry masks for maybe painting or to prevent any type of inhalation from dust. It's
Okay.
just a dust mask.
Okay.
But what's nice about them is it allows a protective barrier between you and things that you may inhale.
Okay.
And during tornadoes or during other types of storms, the thunderstorm that we had here yesterday in Charleston really whipped up a good wind, and there was a lot of wind that was moving.
Okay.
And along with that is safety glasses.
Yes.
The safety glasses should have a wraparound. The wraparound frame will actually help prevent you from getting anything in your eyes. And I always tell my first or my CERT teams when I'm training them that it's always the safety of the responder first, but you certainly cannot help others when you yourself are disabled in a way in which you cannot assist.
So these are just supplies. We haven't even talked about food and water supply. What are the recommendations for how much water do you need?
The recommendation is 1 gallon per person per day, which
Okay.
means if you are planning for 3 days, you need 3 gallons of water per person. But you also need to have food.
Yes.
And the food should be canned food. A lot of people ask me, what would you put in yours? Some people use, spaghetti and meatballs in a can, or some people use tuna, or they might use beans for a high level of protein. But what is so important about all of those things is don't forget the can opener. So many people forget the can opener, and many manufacturers have gone to pull tabs, but many have not. But a lot of people will put those in their bag and then forget that it's there. And of course, keep track of the expiration dates. Change out items in your kit that have expired when you change the batteries in your smoke alarm.
That's good. That's a very good idea. So we've got food, we've got water, we've got supplies. What else? You had mentioned a NOAA weather radio.
A NOAA weather radio is also very important. You can get them to run on batteries, and you can also get them to run on an adapter. You can set the radios to only go off when there is imminent danger.
Okay.
Relying, again, on a television is not always the best idea, but you can get weather updates immediately, and they, of course, break in with emergency announcements as they do with the EAS system here in Charleston or Coles County and all counties actually in the state of Illinois. And a nice new thing that they've added in the state of Illinois, and this is part of a federal government initiative, is on smartphones.
Okay.
There's now a section that has been added to many people's smartphones that may not know about.
Oh, because I have one sitting right over there.
Yes, and at the bottom in the settings of my particular phone, there's a section for notifications. And
Okay.
when you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see 2 items that have been added. There's a section for weather alerts that's been added,
Okay.
and a section for Amber alerts that have been added, and both of those are on.
Okay.
So you
That's
have
good
to
know.
you have to go in and turn them
turn 'em on.
off.
Okay.
Yeah,
Turn
turn
'em
them
on.
off. Actually, they're already on.
Oh,
with
okay.
the activation of the
Okay.
phone, which is different than any approach that we've taken before.
Okay. What about cold weather? I mean, we get ice storms here. We could, there are places that have gone for days, sometimes weeks without any electricity.
Yes. Obviously, blankets, a secondary warming source. Looking or knowing where your warming centers are if you need to go somewhere to stay warm. And I think what people do oftentimes is they go to those facilities, those warming centers, and they think, oh, we're going to be here forever. Remember, it is a temporary situation. But this is when it's important to still have the water, the food. There's energy bars that some people keep in their pack. And again, just as people rob from these, they rob from their other packs too.
Yes.
You don't want to be sure to be snacking out of your bag.
Don't snack out of your kid.
You don't want to be snacking out of the bag, and then when it comes down to it, you'll need it. But oftentimes people in automobiles, they may not have. I have a disaster kit in my automobile. I have one in my office, and obviously one at the house.
Yes.
But the one that's in the automobile contains things that I would maybe need for the car. You also can get a fold-up shovel in case you get stranded. If you do get stranded in a vehicle, you want to be sure that you keep snow away from your muffler.
Yeah.
If you don't keep it away
Monoxide
from
poisoning?
That's
Okay.
right. That's right. And it will come on suddenly. People will have a headache, sleepiness, and of course, carbon monoxide poisoning leads to death.
Well, I think one thing we have to remember about disasters when we think about there's the cruise ship that was stranded at sea.
Yes.
People can get a little, well, not a little, they can get a lot edgy
Yes.
in times of disaster. So, your neighbor may be your best friend now, but during a disaster, they may not invite you over to partake in their disaster kit.
That's true.
I mean, we can get all, save yourself.
Yeah, and I have friends that say, well, we're just coming to your house, and that's simply not good enough.
No.
I don't mind them coming to my house, but they seriously need to plan for themselves. There's a great website called ready.gov, and the ready.gov actually provides a checklist of what you will need.
Okay.
One of the things you should also have in your kits, aside from these basic things, is don't forget medications.
That's what I was going to talk about. Yeah, medications.
Don't forget medications for you, for the pets, for whomever is in your house. You have to be sure to get those. Be sure you have cash. If the power is out,
Yes.
you're not using a debit card.
No.
And I'm not so sure people will want to take checks from you at that time either.
Probably not.
Yeah, so be sure that you have those items as well.
So there's certainly now on TV, we are hearing about, doomsday preppers and people who go to the extreme.
Sure.
You don't have to go to the extreme
No.
to be prepared.
No, and to be quite honest, to put together my kit was no more than $30.
Okay.
So one kit, $30 max. Many of these things you might have in your home already. You might have note cards. Who doesn't have duct tape? Hopefully you have flashlights, and pick up a mask. These are very inexpensive. The first aid kits are also fairly expensive. So you don't have to build yourself an underground bunker.
Okay.
And you can if you want. There's even tornado shelters you can purchase and put in your garage if you wish.
Yes.
So there's lots of options, but it's important to be aware of what those options are.
So, you suggest taking all this, putting it in probably a plastic, not a cardboard box. And you think about what happens to cardboard during a flood.
Yes.
In a plastic sealed kind of large container.
I actually make one of two suggestions.
Okay.
Put it in a backpack.
Oh, okay.
So you can grab it and take it with you.
Yeah,
And be sure.
That's a good idea, carrying your big tote around.
Yeah, carrying your tote around. You can have it in plastic containers organized. I've done that also, but that's for a different venture.
Okay.
But you can also use a 5-gallon pail,
Okay.
because a 5-gallon pail may help to prepare you for maybe a restroom, if you need a restroom.
Yes.
It may help you tote water. Obviously, you don't want to use one before the
No.
other. but if you have the 5-gallon pail, you can even purchase seats for the 5-gallon pail. So if you need to
doubles
sit
as
down,
a chair.
It does.
Okay.
It does.
All right. Well, we are out of time. This went really fast. Great information. I am not prepared, so I think I'm going to go home and collect all my things and get grip prepared. So thank you, Dr. Simons, for coming back on Being Well. We appreciate the information.
Thank you so much for having me.
Being Well is also available online at our YouTube channel, youtube.com/WEIU-TV. Just look for the Being Well playlist. Here you can view current as well as past episodes.